Hello everyone, it's me, Nikki, and today I'm here with my August wrap-up. With my notebook, I read Traits and Traders, which I did a review about, which I will link down below. Let's see what else. I read The Last Wish, the first, or I think it's like a 0.5 in the Witcher universe. I did a review about that, which I will also link down below. I gave it 5 stars. Oh, and did I give Traits and Traders? I gave it 4 stars. Okay. And I also read The Queen's Man by Sharon K. Penman. The first, I want to say there's 4 or 5 about Justin De Quincy. And I made a review about that, which I will link down below. So, the first book that I have not done a review about is, oh, that's very shiny, Tales of the Slayer, Volume 3. This one has 4 stories. Usually there are more than that. But the first story is called Dark of the Moon by Yvonne Navarro. It is set in 1229 to 1250 in North America with the Anasazi people, and in real life around 1250 they just disappeared, and nobody knows why, and I can't remember what 2 tribes in that area, southwest, maybe, I'm not going to say, but I will just look it up. But yeah, it was around the southwest area, and they just sort of disappeared, and nobody knows why. So this is sort of like why they disappeared. The Navajo, who are not their descendants, called them by this term, which means ancient enemies. I did look it up. So there are some tribes that believe they are descended from them, but I can't find them. But they've got, you've probably seen pictures of like their houses built into rock wall foundations and stuff like that. Google them, they're super interesting. But anyway, this the main girl is called Dark of the Moon. She's about 21-ish, so an old maid, obviously, as anyone over, 16 or younger was probably an old maid. She apparently has no power of prophecy, which is, I thought, well, duh, because she's a slayer. But then I remembered, or I read, that they have prophetic dreams, but Dark of the Moon does not. And this is especially disappointing because her father and grandmother are the village or tribal shamans, and they talk to the gods. And I say father and mother because her father went out and then came back with her. That's in 1229. And he said, where is it? And he said, she is born of my loins and the powerful and protective great-grandmother spider. Which probably isn't true. I noticed while looking up about this is a lot of slayers are orphans. So, yes. So she's been taught to fight. She doesn't know she's the slayer. I don't even know if she feels her powers get, like, because on the show when they get activated, people get like I don't know if that ever happens to her. They have a ceremonial fire to keep, they call it a hole in the ground, but it's probably a hellmouth. It might even be the Sunnydale hellmouth. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where Sunnydale is supposed to be in relation to this map of where the Anasazi were supposed to live. And she has some very quick lessons on how to fight vampires. And then everything goes wrong. And a lot of these stories, at least the ones I remember reading before, and I did look up, volume 4 was about slayers rarely survive. So Dark of the Moon did not survive. And then the Anasazi people vanished. The next story is in 1856 in Shanghai with a Chinese slayer, Jiao Qin, I want to say, is how you pronounce it. Again, she doesn't know she's a slayer. She is a potential, and she was taught by a monk, and then he died, and she ran away, pretended to be a man. She got a job. And she rescues young girls and lets them live with her, and so she's a thief. And then she's just, like, doing her stuff and trying to make a living and survive when she meets about vampires, and she meets Connolly, her watcher. There's an old vampire called Feng Chu. And then Connolly keeps telling her, oh, you're the slayer, and she's like, but I'm not. And then this is what I really liked. This is why every young girl should learn about the Slayer, even if Buffy the TV show got a bit weird. On page 137, she says, I could not be the next girl slated to be the Slayer. I was Jiao Qin, an orphan only, nothing special or magical or noble. And it's like, you don't have to be any of those things to become a slayer. So that was really cool. And then there's some drama. And she doesn't want to, when she finally comes to terms with it, then she's like, I don't want to be, but I don't think any girl has ever wanted to be the slayer. And then she likes to hear stories of exotic places like Ireland and California. Because that's where Connolly's going to take her. And then in the end, she goes off. It's, I think, the longest story. Did I make that? Yeah, this is the longest story. This one and the next one are pretty long, which is good. Where is the ending? It is, she's going off to Gold Mountain, California. Something draws me there, but I know not what it is. That place, I am certain, has a special place in Slayer lore, or perhaps it will be, aka the Hellmouth. And this one is called, I didn't tell you the title. I'm going to try my best to pronounce that. Ching Shi by Mel Odom. So yeah. She wins in that one and then goes off to California. The next one is set in 1940s LA with Eleanor as our slayer, and it is The Voodoo Lounge by Christopher Golden. Looks like all the old Hollywood celebs are there. Spike and Drew are mentioned because apparently this slayer, Eleanor, was a character. I'm not sure how big or minor in a Spike and Drusilla book, I want to say, not a comic. So it's a kind of sequel. There's a demon club. It's kind of like the Club in Angel, where demons and humans can sort of hang out, but this one's exclusive because it's all the famous human actors. And someone is killing demons, and Eleanor shows up looking for this guy, because apparently in the Spike and Drew book, they got a list of slayers or potential slayers, and they were like killing all of them and like killing all the watchers. So the whole thing's been depleted, and this guy is an old watcher, and now he's a Hollywood writer. So Eleanor comes looking for him, and then all the demons think that she's the one killing them. And Eleanor has a female watcher who is a badass. We appreciate that. She gets a little love interest. He's the driver. He drives them around LA. His name's Walter. And we all know it's not going to work out because they rarely do. It didn't really work out for Buffy. And she lived. And I think she's the longest living slayer, her and Faith. Because I do remember, I did look it up as well, there was a slayer in the first volume of this where, I look a bit whitewashed. Oh well. It was ancient Greece, and and she was like 29, and that was like the longest slayer ever. And then Eleanor, at the end, it's like takes place in one day. She catches the killer, but she like goes to the club after she goes back to the Voodoo Lounge after she's been in this fight, and like she's had on this fancy dress and it's all torn up and stuff, and then she's like using her strength and her southern manners, and it's just hilarious. And the last story is The Code of the Samurai by Nancy Holder. It takes place in Japan, 1993, with India, who I looked up is the slayer right before Buffy. So she dies eventually, but not in this story. It's about the 47 Ronin, which is a whole other topic. India is in Japan because her dad's in the Navy, I want to say, and her mom is like a Filipina actress? I think it's the Philippines, not 100% sure. India has a crush on her watcher, and it's basically the 47 Ronin did not die, they turned into vampires. So it is the living Asano clan versus the dead one. Her parents aren't good. We have a lovely flashback scene. There's a big fight. She's kind of like Buffy, because obviously they're probably around the same age at this point. India doesn't listen to her watcher either. She 1v1s Asano, and I thought it was actually a really good ending. So I actually enjoyed the book more than I thought I would. I vaguely remember not enjoying the second one as much. So I don't think I'm going to read the fourth one. So that is that. Okay. Oh, this one's a big one. Next, I have read The Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons. It's the first... I think there's It's 3 books. I don't think it'll be more than a trilogy. I'm not sure. Let's start off with some triggers. There's slavery, and they are controlled with part of your soul. So whoever owns, it's like putting a little, like a phone or just a tchotchke, and whoever owns it controls you. And then, what's another one? Oh, there is one. Okay. So, there are dual perspectives between Kieran and Talon, and it starts in media res. And I actually liked that. And it also has, like, oh gosh, focus. Or do something. Right there, it's got like little footnotes, like it's a text, because it is someone else compiling all of this stuff together. I just really like the way it was written. So there's magic and non-humans, a glossary, fantastic. And there's 2 timelines. So Kieran's is, they're both in the past, and then like at the end they converge to the present. But Talon's starts at the beginning of Kieran's story, and Kieran's story starts like in the middle where Talon doesn't know what happened to him. There's short chapters. There's a lot of lore about the slavery. There's a prophecy. There is LGBT people. Kieran is dumb, but he's 15. Everyone has a plan for Kieran, except for Kieran. There's a dragon in it who likes Kieran, which turns out to be a problem later. There's violence against people Kieran likes. They are murdered. Talon is the worst. And Talon is a confusing but interesting character, but she's still also the worst. There is a point. I would say it's there's a point where Talon is pretending to be another woman, and she sleeps with Kieran, but Kieran doesn't know that Talon isn't the woman she says she is. I don't want to spoil anything. So he consents to sex, but not really. He's only about 15, 16 maybe. So that part's a bit icky. It's not rape, but it kind of is. He doesn't even really like talking about it. There's just a lot of stuff that happens. I took a lot of notes. And I'm not like 100% sure what's important or what's not. So yeah, it's on page 311. I said he is essentially raped. So I'm not 100%. It's like a big consent issue. It's not great. There's possession. Another character possesses Kieran. And so he leaves this one place when he's like 16, and there's, between the 2 stories, there's this 2-year time gap, so he's like 18 now. There's a kraken, so there's tentacles, which I know some people don't like. So, you know what? I enjoyed the story. I can't tell you a lot because a lot happens and it's a lot of spoilers. I enjoyed the ending quite a bit. Figuring out, like, Kieran is, they say he's the son of a long-lost prince. Or he is a long-lost prince, so he's the son of a prince. And, like, figuring out who his parents are and how that affects him and this prophecy and all this other stuff is very, very good. I highly enjoyed it, and I very much cannot wait to read the sequel. So yes, I would definitely check that out. I'm just looking at my timings. I don't, because I took a lot of notes, and I thought that was important, but I don't know. Okay, next up is... I should start with those other two. Anyway, Dragon Slayer by Duncan M. Hamilton. This is a trilogy as well, I believe. I enjoyed that as well. Let's see. There's magic, an order of knights that the main character Gil belongs to. And he's the last one. And I made a note here. The dragon that wakes up is also the last one. So there's parallels between Gil and this dragon. They've both lost their family. They're the last of their kind. Both their wives or mates and children are dead. I think it's been like 1,000 years, and this dragon wakes up and he goes, what the fuck? And they don't intend to wake the dragon, but they do. Magic is outlawed, and so this, what's his name? The Prince Bishop Amory is trying to, he has magic and he's trying to make it more acceptable. He's got like this magic, a school of magic, and Gil finds Celine, who is just brimming with magic, and when they get to the main city, Amory takes her and trains her. But before that, Gil sees the dragon, and nobody in town believes him because he's a drunk. There's a new king in town, and he could be good, not 100% sure. Amory is an asshole and ambitious. It's a lot of politics, and then Gil and Amory have a past, so he buys a bunch of expensive things just to make Amory mad, which is a level of petty I enjoy. And Amory wants this old magic item because he thinks if he drinks out of it, it will give him more magic, which would make him more powerful. And I'm like, it's probably not how it works. And then you also get point of view from the dragon, who has doubts about, because he's just killing humans indiscriminately, and he has doubts about it, but he's like, no, it's the right thing to do. They've killed all of my family indiscriminately, even though it's been 1,000 years. And Celine even gets to train. So there's like 3 stories, and then they all converge at the end. And Gil finds the magic item, and I imagined it as the Holy Grail type of thing from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Like, when they were looking for it, they were probably looking for, like, the jeweled pretty cup when it was just there. Like, a pizza plane bowl. I don't even think it's, like... It's just, like, a bowl thing, and, yeah. And they fight a dragon, and I was like, why can't they just talk to the dragon? Like, they didn't even try. The dragon just wants to raise his kids. And then, a horse is injured by the dragon flame, but I don't believe it dies. But the dragon does die, unfortunately. And then you also learn more about Gil's secret order, the Silver Circle. And he gets like the first, like there's 20 blades and he uses the first one, so I'm like, does that mean they're gonna be 19 other people? Oh, and Celine does kill someone very bloodily. They basically like explode. So yeah, I thought it was a good book. I enjoyed it. I thought maybe it started a little slow. But I really wanted to know more about Gil's past and how his past with Amory and stuff. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. I recommend all of these books. And then there's just one more book and 2 more comics. And then the final book is Eon by Alison Goodman. This is one of 2. And it's Asian inspired. Everybody's sexist because women are trash in this world. Eon is they call her a cripple because she has a bad hip. Like her hip and left leg got broken and put back together poorly. She trains with 11 other boys, even though she is a 16-year-old girl. And they all train for a dragon to pick you. And it reminds me, Eon, her fight with herself reminds me of The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea. The current rat dragon is Lord Ito, and he's a jerk. He tries to rape Eon later when he finds out she's a woman or a girl. So she also gets some special swords. And like I think I said somewhere that in the beginning they give you a list of all the dragons, and the mirror dragon, which I will always call dragon because it's hilarious, is missing for 500 years, and guess what happens? It's not really a shock that Eon is picked by the dragon. So her and Lord Ito are like co-dragon lords. She's only ranked after the imperial family. She has a master who has a hidden agenda, and he really likes power. He used to be the Tiger Dragon Lord. There is Lady Della, who is trans. She was born a male, but dresses as a woman. And there are eunuchs. There's some vomit. I know people have triggers about that. I don't mind reading about vomit, but I don't like seeing vomit. And then to like really but commune with your dragon, you have to know its name, but she doesn't know the dragon's name because she doesn't know her true self. And that's like that's a thing throughout the whole book. She befriends the prince next in line, Kigo, I believe. And the emperor is very sick and old, and his brother or half-brother, Sethon, is like a general, and he's the main bad guy, but he doesn't show up until later. And then also, I didn't understand this until the emperor dies, but the prince becomes emperor, and Eon goes to him, and they do a traditional mourning ceremony together. And like right here, they put like a gem and claws or something, like sewn into his skin. So there's that. They don't tell you how that's done, thank the gods, because that sounds gross. Let's see what there is a resistance movement against Sethon. And Eon is a pawn in everybody's plan. There's a heist. There's steroids. They're essentially steroids, which Eon tries to use, and they don't work because it's called Moon and Sun. So Moon is female, Sun is male, and they're like, these steroids make your sun bigger, your testosterone. So Eon uses them, thinking, "Oh, that's how we'll get my dragon." No. There's death and grief. There is a severely disabled character named Chart. He doesn't walk, I don't think. He doesn't talk very well. They think he's stupid. He's not. And I think he's physically disfigured, like around the face, and maybe, I'm not sure. But Eon is super nice to him. She does not give a shit. There's some romance between Eon and maybe the prince, or even Edo, but he tries to rape her physically, and he does rape her spirit. And I said maybe not rape, but he forces his spirit onto her, so I guess that is rape. And then you know, it all ends vaguely unhappily because it's a part 1. So part 2 picks up after this, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see how Eon or Iona, I believe she goes by either, you know, how she deals with her new dragon powers. So yes, I'm excited. I enjoyed everything I read. We'll put that there. And then the last 2 things I read, we're looking for group volume 1 and 2. It reminded me how much I love the series. I can't find the next volumes anywhere cheaper, so I'm just reading them online. But I love them. Richard is amazing. He becomes, is it in this book or another one? It's in one of these 2. He becomes the mistress of magma. And then I think it's in this one. He gets sucked into a portal, and he's put on trial. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you've done some good things." And then he goes, you know, I'm all powerful. I don't know why you thought you could contain my power. So yes, I very much enjoy this. And I am going to continue reading them. I would suggest reading this as well. There are some very serious moments. But yeah, and these covers. These covers are amazing. I love and on the back even. These are all the people they meet and the friends that they have. So yes, that is what I read in August. I've missed some books, but I got very tired near the end of the month, and I just couldn't anymore. So, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you're having a lovely day. Goodbye.